So we gotta talk about Israel today.
Per the Times of Israel, dated October 8th, 2023. For years, Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Now it's blown up in our faces. For years, the various governments led by Benjamin Netanyahu took an approach that divided power between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, bringing Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to his knees while making moves that propped up the Hamas terror group. The idea was to prevent Abbas or anyone else in the Palestinian Authority's West Bank government from advancing toward the establishment of a Palestinian state. Thus, amid this bid to impair Abbas, Hamas was upgraded from a mere terror group to an organization with which Israel held indirect negotiations via Egypt, and one that was allowed to receive infusions of cash from abroad. Hamas was also included in discussions about increasing the number of work permits Israel granted to Gazan laborers, which kept money flowing into Gaza, meaning food for families and the ability to purchase basic products. Israel officials said these permits, which allow Gazan laborers to earn higher salaries than they would in the enclave, were a powerful tool to help preserve calm. Toward the end of Netanyahu's fifth government in 2021, approximately 2 to 3,000 work permits were issued to Gazans. This number climbed to 5,000 and during the Bennett-Lapid government rose sharply to 10,000. Since Netanyahu returned to power in January 2023, the number of work permits has soared to nearly 20,000. Additionally, since 2014, Netanyahu-led governments have practically turned a blind eye to the incendiary balloons and rocket fire from Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel has allowed suitcases holding millions of Qatari cash to enter Gaza through its crossing since 2018 in order to maintain its fragile ceasefire with the Hamas rulers of the Strip. Most of the time, Israeli policy was to treat the Palestinian Authority as a burden and Hamas as an asset. Far-right MK Bezalel Smotrich, now the finance minister in the hardline government and leader of the Religious Zionism Party, said so himself in 2015. According to various reports, Netanyahu made a similar point at the Likud faction meeting in early 2019 when he was quoted as saying that those who oppose a Palestinian state should support the transfer of funds to Gaza, because maintaining the separation between the Palestinian Authority and the West Bank and Hamas in Gaza would prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state. While Netanyahu does not make these kind of statements publicly or officially, his words are in line with the policy that he implemented. The same messaging was repeated by far right-wing commentators who may have received briefings on the matter or talked to Likud higher-ups and understood the message. Bolstered by his policy, Hamas grew stronger and stronger until Saturday, Israel's Pearl Harbor, the bloodiest day in its history, when terrorists crossed the border, slaughtered hundreds of Israelis, and kidnapped an unknown number under the cover of thousands of rockets fired at towns throughout the country's south and center. The country has known attacks and wars, but never on such a scale in a single morning. One thing is clear: the concept of indirectly strengthening Hamas while tolerating sporadic attacks and minor military operations every few years went up in smoke Saturday.
So you might be wondering, why is this 2-year-old article relevant to anything that's going on today? And well, I probably wouldn't have said anything, but just in case you didn't know, Netanyahu essentially funded, propped up, supported Hamas in the Gaza Strip in order to keep, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip from ever seeing eye to eye, coming together and potentially becoming a state, because Israel absolutely does not want that to happen. The reason that this is relevant today is because of this little thing right here.
Per the Times of Israel, Israel to spend up to $4.1 million in bid to bolster support among Christians in western U.S. Federal filings show Foreign Ministry hired U.S. firm to run campaign targeting churchgoers with digital ads, mobile October 7th experience. With its popularity in the United States crashing, Israel is bankrolling what organizers say will be the largest campaign of its kind to bolster support among evangelical churches, until recently seen as an unshakable base of support for the Jewish state. The Foreign Ministry has hired an American firm to run the campaign, with plans to spend as much as $4.1 million on marketing aimed at Christians across the western part of the country, according to newly filed federal disclosures. The documents filed last week under the Foreign Agents Registration Act reveal that Shows Faith by Works, LLC, will execute what it bills as the largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. The campaign's pro-Israel messaging is designed to speak directly to pastors and Christian audiences about Israel's biblical and historical significance. The materials emphasize the Jewish presence in the land before 1948, the state's legitimacy and record of protecting non-Jewish populations, and Israel's effort to uphold civilian safety and moral superiority in wartime. Other talking points highlight Israel's democratic freedom, its partnership with the United States, and its place in the Christian New Testament, suggesting a Christmas message about the birthplace of Jesus. One bullet point says to question the long-standing policy of a two-state solution. The anti-Palestinian sections of the plan characterizes Palestinians chiefly through the prism of Hamas. It asserts that Palestinians are complicit in Hamas leadership, financing, and military operations, and accuses them of sheltering terrorists, hiding weapons in schools and hospitals, and celebrating the October 7th attack. The material stressed that there has never been a Palestinian state, that Hamas and Iran's goals are genocidal rather than land focused, and that Palestinians have squandered opportunities for modernization in favor of violence. The filings also note attacks on American Christian aid workers in Gaza. The new campaign is the latest in a string of foreign agent registrations linked to Israel's foreign ministry this month. On September 18th, Parscale's firm Clocktower X LLC registered as a foreign agent, committing to produce 100 ads per month with 5,000 variations to combat anti-Semitism in the United States. Documents revealed plans to deploy AI-driven search engine optimization tools and shape outputs of GPT-based chatbots. Days later, a newly registered firm called Bridges Partners disclosed that it had been retained to run the Esther Project, a code-named influencer campaign designed to recruit 5 to 6 social media personalities at a time, each posting dozens of pieces of content monthly across Instagram and TikTok. Both firms were also contracted through Havas, which appears to be serving as a hub for the ministry's U.S. spending.
So there you have it, folks. After Benny Netanyahu funded Hamas, essentially propped them up and facilitated their ability to launch the October 7th attacks 2 years ago, and now after 2 years of bombing the Gaza Strip flat, displacing all of those Palestinians, and Americans finally waking up to the fact that, oh wait, maybe Israel isn't just entirely just a victim in this situation. They're now, the Israeli government is pouring millions of dollars into ad campaigns and social networks using geofencing to specifically target places of worship in the western United States. There's something so utterly dystopian about that. The idea of that is so Black Mirror that it gives me the creeps, straight up. And I know I wouldn't be happy about that. I know I wouldn't be comfortable with it. And I really wonder, to modern American Christians, are you okay with that? Are you cool with your places of worship being targeted for adverts and propaganda, regardless of what it's supposed to be? It feels to me like a violation of the sanctity of those places of worship, you know? If they want to go out there and physically proselytize, that's one thing. But to locate, tag, and target your phone to continuously try and propagandize you to the viewpoint of a foreign government, that seems like a violation of something sacred. I don't know, though. Point being, there are no good guys in this war. Israelis, Palestinians, Muslims, blah, blah, blah. All those people have been killing each other for thousands of years, and it's not our fight. You know, our fight is right here at home, because it's America first, baby. Y'all know what it is. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments. Hit that follow button. Help me get to 1,000 by Halloween. I hope you're having a good day. Peace.